Israeli soldiers face a nightmare in Lebanon, one attached to a wire that Israel may have underestimated. The war in Ukraine has shown how, through the use of FPV drones, the battlefield has changed profoundly, and even the vehicles have had to adapt to the transformation. To give you a concrete example, with an Italian vehicle, this one you see is a Centauro, as we usually see it in operations and exercises. This, on the other hand, is one of the Centauros that Italy has given to Ukraine, with modifications that are designed to try to increase defense against drones. Before continuing, an important premise. This video will not address ethical, moral, or political aspects of the war in the Middle East. Its only purpose is to describe a dynamic of modern warfare. Israel has been and still is one of the countries with the most experience in the field of drones, but during the new advance in Lebanon, it is encountering major difficulties with the drones available to Hezbollah. With a greater number of soldiers and vehicles deployed further north compared to the earlier phases of the war, Hezbollah now has a larger number of targets within range. A shorter distance between the group's positions in Lebanon and the Israeli units makes logistics easier and allows the use of short-range drones loaded with explosive warheads. Since February 2026, the group is said to have carried out more than 27 drone attacks against Israeli forces operating in Lebanon. It should obviously be noted that, as in other cases, the videos are often edited, released by the Lebanese group, and the final results of the attacks are almost never shown. This affects the overall assessment, but on the other hand, Israel censors this kind of material for obvious reasons, creating a situation of analysis that remains incomplete. As you may have understood, the main characters of this video are drones, especially fiber-tethered drones, which allow them to bypass electronic warfare interference, or poor reception from areas that, due to the terrain, can interfere with the radio signal. The result is a drone that operates without interference at the cost of some sacrifices in agility and an increase in costs due to the reel and the fiber cable. According to the available information, the cables can reach distances between 10 and 30 km, which is sufficient since an FPV drone has a similar operating range. The drones are also built with lightweight materials such as fiberglass, a feature that, according to sources, reduces their radar and thermal signature. This makes detection by defense systems more complicated. Analysts point out that Hezbollah did not have large quantities of fiber optic drones. In 2024, a period when Russia and Ukraine were actually beginning to experiment with this type of technology in the field, which however is now increasingly widespread. The munitions used by these drones are mainly charges belonging to the PG-7 family, as well as their Iranian equivalents. In some cases, there have also been documented attacks carried out by dropping munitions directly from drones against Israeli forces. Some industry analyses note that most of the attacks recorded in 2026 would have targeted Israeli armored vehicles. Of the 25 incidents catalogued up to April 21, 22 involved vehicles, specifically Namr armored personnel carriers and Merkava tanks. Drone operators, as seen in the war in Ukraine and other scenarios with Western-designed tanks, try to hit the most critical points, such as the rear of the Merkava's turret, where the ammunition reserve is located. Let me make a quick aside. If you want a video that focuses more on the critical points, I recommend the video by my friend Alex from the channel Storia Corazza, which was discussed recently. But first, stay here a little longer. Israel already has several tools designed to counter not only drones but also other types of threats. In addition to electronic warfare systems, many vehicles are designed for IDF troops using the Trophy Active Protection System, one of the most famous active defense systems in the world. The Trophy uses a radar to detect incoming threats and launches small interceptor projectiles against rockets or anti-tank missiles. However, the latest versions of the system also include anti-drone capabilities. However, it's not very clear how many vehicles deployed in Lebanon have received this type of upgrade. In the absence of the most recent modifications, an important thing to point out is that the radars might ignore small and slow objects like FPV drones, allowing them to approach the vehicles without being detected. It should also be brought to your attention that in some videos the tanks are parked and have no crew on board, so most likely the system is still turned off. As early as the Gaza crisis a few years ago, some of the Merkava tanks had started to receive additional metal structures, a sign that Israel was ready for this kind of warfare. They were installed on top of the turret to reduce vulnerability to attacks from above, which are carried out by these very small drones. Despite this, in a video that, honestly, I don't feel comfortable showing you here on social media, you can see a drone hitting the cop cage of a Merkava, which then catches fire shortly after. Not only are tanks subject to drone attacks, but some images show an attack while IDF troops are evacuating a wounded soldier, and in others, you can see drones moving through urban areas. In conclusion, despite the elections in Ukraine, in Lebanon the IDF are facing a routine threat found on battlefields around the world and available to non-state entities as well. And although the Merkava, with its developments, is one of the best MBTs in the world designed for Israeli needs, I thought it would be interesting to bring you this topic, which I noticed is being covered by many authoritative defense websites. That said, you can find all the sources for further information in the first highlighted comment. If you're interested in these topics, I invite you to share this video on your social media, leave a like and a comment. It will help us a lot with the algorithm. See you soon here on Gens Italia with more news.